One couple was destined to win Love Island USA Season 7. They were closed off head over heels, and the internet was convinced they'd take home that $100,000 prize. Then everything exploded in the most unexpected way possible. What happened next created one of the most talked about love stories in reality TV history, but it also left behind some serious damage. This is the story of how Ace, Nick, Olandria, Taylor, and Cierra got caught in a web of controversy, heartbreak, and accusations that still haven't stopped. From Love Island villa drama to brand deal controversies, Nic Olandria became the couple everyone couldn't stop watching. But was it all real, or were we watching something else entirely? And hey, if you're loving this messy reality TV tea, smash that subscribe button. We're serving up drama hotter than the Fiji sun, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Plus, YouTube's algorithm apparently thinks we're all playing hard to get, so do us a solid and help us out. Now let's get into this chaos.
Cierra Ortega walked into that Love Island USA villa like she owned the place. 25 years old, confident, gorgeous, and ready to find her person. And for a while, it looked like she actually did. Her connection with Nic Vansteenberghe was the kind of thing that makes reality TV producers weep with joy. They clicked instantly, the chemistry was undeniable, and viewers ate it up. While other couples were fumbling through awkward conversations and manufactured drama, Cierra and Nick were building something that felt genuine. They laughed together, they opened up to each other, and most importantly, they trusted each other in a villa designed to destroy trust. By the time they decided to close things off, making their relationship exclusive and shutting down any possibility of exploring connections with other islanders, they were frontrunners. The fans loved them, the betting odds favored them, and it seemed like nothing could stop their momentum. Cierra had racked up hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers. She was positioned to walk out of that villa as a winner in every sense of the word. The path to victory seemed clear, and for once, it looked like Love Island might crown a couple that actually deserved it. Everything was going exactly according to plan. But social media never forgets, and what seemed buried in the past was about to surface in the worst possible way.
It started with a screenshot. Just one image circulating on social media, but that's all it ever takes these days. The post was from February 2024, an Instagram story where Cierra was talking about getting cosmetic procedures done. Except she used a word that made people's blood run cold. A racial slur targeting Asian communities used casually like it meant nothing at all. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Fans started digging deeper, and they found another post from way back in 2015 where she'd used the same term. This wasn't a one-time mistake or an unfortunate slip of the tongue. This was a pattern. The Love Island fandom exploded with anger. Comment sections flooded with demands for production to take action. People pointed out that earlier in the season, another contestant named Yulissa Escobar had been quietly removed after a clip surfaced of her using a different racial slur. If the show was willing to boot Yulissa after just 2 episodes, why was Cierra still there enjoying her time in paradise? The accusations started flying that production wasn't taking discrimination against Asian communities seriously. Petitions were created, fan accounts turned against her, and the pressure mounted with every passing day. Cierra started hemorrhaging followers by the thousands, watching her carefully built social media empire crumble in real time.
Inside the villa, Cierra had no idea what was happening. The whole point of Love Island is that contestants are cut off from the outside world. No phones, no internet, no clue that your life is imploding online. She was still planning her future with Nick, still thinking about that prize money, still believing she was America's sweetheart. Meanwhile, producers were dealing with a crisis that was getting uglier by the hour. Fans were threatening to boycott the show if action wasn't taken. Asian American contestants from previous seasons were speaking out about how hurt they felt. The situation was spiraling out of control, and something had to give. On day 26 of the competition, just 1 week before the finale, Cierra was called away. The other Islanders didn't know what was happening. They just knew she was gone. When the episode aired, narrator Ain Sterling's voice came through with a brief clinical announcement. Cierra has left the villa due to a personal situation. No explanation, no context, nothing. Her name was barely mentioned again for the rest of the episode, like she'd been erased from the show's memory. For viewers who weren't chronically online, it probably seemed random, maybe a family emergency or a health issue. But for anyone paying attention to social media, the message was crystal clear. Cierra was out, and she wasn't coming back.
The aftermath hit fast and brutal. Cierra's parents took over her Instagram account and posted a statement begging for compassion. They talked about how their daughter hadn't even seen what was being said about her yet, how their family was receiving threats, how someone had even called immigration enforcement on them trying to cause problems. The hate had spilled beyond Cierra and was targeting everyone connected to her. When she finally got her phone back and saw the destruction, she posted a video taking accountability. She apologized to the entire Asian community, explained that she genuinely didn't understand the history and harm of the words she'd used, and admitted she deserved the consequences she was facing. She called it an accountability video, not an apology video, which some people respected and others saw as splitting hairs. But here's the thing. While Cierra's world was burning down, someone else's was just beginning. And that someone was the last person anyone expected.
When Cierra left, Nic Vansteenberghe was shattered. Or at least that's what it looked like in the moment. He was shown in the villa looking lost, talking about how his mind had been clear about his future and now everything was uncertain. He'd just become single in one of the most jarring ways possible, watching his closed-off girlfriend get removed from the competition without warning. For about half an episode, viewers felt genuinely bad for him. Poor Nic, caught in someone else's controversy. His Love Island journey derailed through no fault of his own. The sympathy was real. Then something wild happened. That same episode, Nic coupled up with Olandria Carthen. Not the next day, not after a respectful period of reflection, the same exact episode. And suddenly, he didn't look lost anymore. He looked excited, energized, like a weight had been lifted. The transformation was so quick, it gave people whiplash. One minute he's talking about being heartbroken, the next he's grinning ear to ear, getting to know someone new. It was jarring, and viewers immediately started reading between the lines.
Olandria had her own complicated situation. She'd been in one of the season's other solid couples with Taylor Williams. They'd built a genuine connection, and fans were rooting for them, too. But when Casa Amor happened, that brutal twist where the villa gets split and new people get introduced to test everyone's loyalty, both Olandria and Nic got dumped from the show. In a new twist that season, dumped islanders got to choose to couple up with each other and return to the villa together. That's when Nic and Olandria had their first real moment. They shared a kiss that was supposed to be just a friendly thank you for the second chance, but something about it felt different. Still, they both insisted they just wanted to get back to their original partners. They were friends, nothing more. Except, superfans had noticed something. The way Nic and Olandria looked at each other, even when they were with other people. Little glances, comfortable body language, and ease between them that felt natural. People started shipping them as a couple before they were even actually together, creating fan accounts and making edits. The chemistry was undeniable to anyone paying attention. So when Cierra left and Nic immediately turned to Olandria, it didn't feel like a rebound. It felt like something that had been bubbling under the surface finally breaking free. Nicolandria was born, and the internet lost its mind in the best possible way.
Quick timeout. If you're still here and invested in this mess, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're only halfway through this story, and it gets so much wilder. Drop a comment too, and let me know whose side you're on, because this is about to get messy. Okay, back to the drama. Nic and Olandria didn't win Love Island USA. They came in second place, losing to another couple in the final vote. But in every way that actually matters in reality TV, they won everything. The moment they left that villa and got their phones back, they discovered they'd become cultural icons. Nicolandria wasn't just a couple name, it was a movement. Fan accounts had tens of thousands of followers. Their photos together were being turned into aesthetic Pinterest boards and Tumblr posts. Young people were writing fan fiction about them. They weren't just popular, they tapped into something deeper. Part of it was how they looked together. Both of them are objectively stunning in that way that makes regular people question their life choices. Nic with his model-esque features and laid-back California surfer energy, Olandria with her elegance and southern charm. They photographed like a fashion campaign, and brands noticed immediately. But it was more than just looks. They represented something that felt rare in reality TV. A couple that seemed to genuinely like each other, support each other, and build each other up instead of tearing each other down. In a genre built on manufactured conflict and toxic relationships, Nicolandria felt refreshingly healthy.
The brand deals started rolling in fast. Nic had already been modeling for Kulani Kinis, an Australian swimwear brand, for years before Love Island. He loved them so much, he literally had their logo tattooed on his body. So when the brand offered to do a collaboration featuring his personal favorite pieces from their collection, it was a perfect match. But the real magic happened when they brought Olandria into the campaign. The photos were stunning. Sun-soaked beaches, matching swimsuits, effortless chemistry that didn't feel forced or fake. Fans went absolutely feral. The collaboration sold out so fast that people were joking about needing a Hunger Games-style battle to secure a purchase. Then came the NYX professional makeup deal. Olandria's signature lip combo from the villa had become so popular that fans were constantly asking what products she used. NYX capitalized on it by creating the official Nicolandria lip combo, a set of lipstick, liner, and gloss designed to recreate her exact look. The product launched and sold out in hours. Not days, hours. The website crashed from traffic. People were receiving delay notifications before the official launch announcement even went out. For a reality TV couple to have that kind of pull in the beauty industry was unprecedented. It proved that Nicolandria wasn't just a cute couple fans liked watching. They were a legitimate brand with real commercial power. Olandria signed with Digital Brand Architects, a major talent management firm owned by UTA, the same company that represents A-list influencers and celebrities. Her strategy was clear. Expand beyond just being a reality TV personality and build a sustainable career in lifestyle and entertainment. She talked openly about her dreams of modeling for high fashion brands and working in spaces that had historically excluded women who looked like her. With Nic by her side, traveling to Greece for the first time for his Kulani campaign, hitting up brand events in LA and documenting their relationship in a way that felt authentic, she was living out loud and inspiring people in the process. Everything looked perfect. The fairy tale was complete. Two people who found each other in the most chaotic circumstances, overcame the odds, and built something beautiful together. Fans were eating it up. Brands couldn't get enough of them. And their relationship seemed to be going strong even after the camera stopped rolling. They weren't labeling themselves as boyfriend and girlfriend yet, but they were exclusive and clearly serious about each other. At the reunion special, they talked about the pressure they felt from fans to immediately put a label on things, but emphasized they were taking their time and building their connection at their own pace. It was mature. It was healthy. It was everything people wanted to see. But remember Cierra? She hadn't forgotten about any of this. And she had some things to say.
After months of relative silence, Cierra started dropping hints on social media. Nothing too direct at first, just cryptic enough to make people wonder. She posted a "Get Ready With Me" video talking about surviving the villain edit on reality TV and not ending up with the guy who never actually liked her and wanted her friend the entire time. The message was clear as day. She was talking about Nic, and she was saying he'd been into Olandria from the beginning. Fans were split. Some people felt vindicated because they'd suspected it all along. Others thought Cierra was being messy and couldn't accept that Nic had simply moved on. Either way, it added a darker undertone to the Nicolandria love story. What if their connection wasn't fate? What if it was calculated? Cierra kept going. She talked about how she'd never heard from Nic after leaving the villa, despite them being closed off and supposedly in a serious relationship. No text, no call, no attempt to check if she was okay after everything she'd been through. For someone who claimed to care about her,
The silence was deafening. She framed it as mourning a relationship that turned out to be one-sided, grieving not just the loss of Nic, but the loss of what she thought they had. And when she watched him immediately couple up with Olandria in the same episode she was removed, it confirmed her suspicion. He was just waiting for an excuse to make his move. She'd been holding him back from what he actually wanted, and the moment she was gone, he didn't waste a second.
Some fans felt for her. Getting kicked off a reality show for a legitimate controversy is one thing, but watching your partner move on before your side of the bed is even cold is brutal. It added insult to injury in a way that felt cruel. Others pointed out that Cierra's own actions created the situation she found herself in. If she hadn't used defensive language, she'd still be in the villa, and none of this would have happened. Her heartbreak, while real, was a consequence of her own choices. The debate raged online, but one thing was certain. The Nicolandria fairy tale had some cracks starting to show. Then came the bombshell that made everyone question everything they thought they knew.
The host asked Ace point-blank if he thought Nic and Olandria's relationship was real. Ace didn't answer right away, but his face said everything. He smiled in that uncomfortable way people do when they know something they probably shouldn't share. The host pressed him, and Ace finally admitted that he had doubts. He said Olandria had just visited for Shelley's birthday, and they'd all hung out together, so he has respect for her, but then he dropped the hammer. According to Ace, the last conversation he had with Nic involved Nic saying there was no romantic spark between him and Olandria. They found each other attractive, sure, but there was no deeper connection. It was casual, friendly, nothing serious. Ace's implication was obvious. Nic was using the relationship to secure brand deals and stay relevant. As long as Nicolandria remained a thing, the opportunities kept coming. Break up, and both of them fade back into obscurity. It was a transaction, dressed up as a romance, at least according to Ace's version of events. The interviewer even hinted that Ace had told him something off-camera that he couldn't repeat, something that suggested the relationship was even more fake than Ace was willing to say publicly. Fans immediately started speculating. What did Ace know? What couldn't he say on the record? Was Nicolandria the greatest con in Love Island history?
Olandria's response was swift and unbothered. She tweeted something along the lines of, "Anyway, my event at Tuskegee went amazing yesterday," completely ignoring the accusations. It was a power move, refusing to give Ace's comments oxygen by engaging with them. Nic stayed silent too, not addressing the podcast at all. Their approach seemed to be that responding would only make things worse, so they just kept posting their normal content and acting like nothing had happened. Some fans respected the move, saying they were above the drama. Others saw it as suspicious. If the accusations were completely baseless, why not just shut them down? The timing of Ace's comments was interesting too. He admitted in the interview that he and Nic hadn't spoken in weeks. So if Nic had supposedly said there was no romantic spark, that conversation happened a while ago. But since then, Nic and Olandria had been on multiple trips together, done several brand campaigns, and consistently posted about each other in ways that seemed genuine. Either Nic had a change of heart and things developed into something real, or he was an incredibly committed actor. The truth was somewhere in the middle of all these conflicting stories, but no one could agree on where.
What made everything more complicated was that people had different motivations for believing different narratives. Cierra supporters wanted to believe Nic had been a player all along because it validated her experience and made her look less like someone who got played. Nicolandria fans wanted to believe Ace was stirring up drama for attention because admitting the relationship might be fake would ruin the fantasy they'd invested in. Casual observers were just confused, trying to figure out who to believe when everyone had a different version of events. The mess kept growing and nobody could agree on what was actually real. Before we wrap this up, one last reminder to subscribe if you're into this level of reality TV chaos. We cover all the messiest drama, the wildest scandals, and the tea that keeps you up at night questioning your faith and love. Hit that bell too so you never miss when we drop the next bombshell. Okay, let's bring this home. Here's what we know for sure. Cierra Ortega made a serious mistake that cost her everything. Her time on Love Island, her shot at the prize money, her reputation, and the relationship she thought was solid. Whether she deserved the level of vitriol she received is debatable. But consequences for offensive language aren't up for debate. She owned it,
apologized, and has been trying to move forward. The resentment she feels toward Nic is understandable, even if her timing and method of expressing it comes across as bitter. Watching your ex thrive with someone new while you're dealing with the fallout of a massive public controversy would make anyone feel some type of way.
Nic and Olandria's relationship, whatever it actually is, has been wildly successful from a business standpoint. They've secured deals that most reality TV contestants only dream about. They've built a fan base that's loyal, engaged, and willing to spend money on anything they touch. They've become the blueprint for how to leverage reality TV fame into something sustainable. Whether that relationship is fueled by genuine love or strategic partnership or some combination of both is something only they truly know. Relationships are complicated, even without cameras and brand deals and public scrutiny. Adding all that pressure makes it nearly impossible to tell what's authentic and what's performance. Enter AC's accusations. Throw another wrench into everything. Is he a truth teller trying to expose a fake relationship? Or is he a drama starter trying to stay relevant by attaching himself to the season's biggest story? His relationship with Shelley has stayed relatively drama-free, which either means he's telling the truth about Nicolandria as a concerned observer, or it means he's deflecting attention from his own situation by creating problems for someone else. The fact that he hasn't spoken to Nic in weeks and admitted Olandria was recently hanging out with them makes his claims feel inconsistent. If the relationship was obviously fake, would Olandria be casually spending time with someone who was about to blast her connection on a podcast?
What's clear is that reality TV relationships exist in a strange space where love and business become impossible to separate. Every Instagram post is content. Every date is an opportunity for a sponsored partnership. Every fight or makeups or milestone gets monetized. It doesn't mean the feelings aren't real, but it does mean those feelings are always tangled up with external factors that have nothing to do with genuine connection. Nic and Olandria could be madly in love and also strategically maximizing their combined brand power. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. The truth is probably messier and more nuanced than any single narrative allows for. Maybe Nic did have feelings for Olandria while he was with Cierra, but also genuinely cared about Cierra too. Maybe he moved on quickly, not because he was faking it with Cierra, but because his connection with Olandria felt easier and more natural. Maybe Ace heard Nic vent during a frustrating moment and took that as proof the whole relationship was fake, when really it was just normal relationship growing pains. Maybe Cierra's hurt feelings are valid, even if her interpretation of events isn't entirely accurate. Maybe everyone involved is telling their version of the truth, and the full picture is too complicated for any single perspective to capture.
What we're left with is a messy human story that got amplified by social media, brand deals, and public opinion. 3 people who went on a dating show looking for love and found controversy, heartbreak, fame, and questions they're still trying to answer. Fans who invested emotionally in a couple's journey now have to grapple with the possibility that what they saw wasn't the full story. And everyone involved has to figure out how to move forward when the internet refuses to let anything go. So where does this leave Nicolandria? Still together, still posting, still doing brand deals, and still refusing to label what they have. Whether that's because they're taking things slow and building something real, or because a label would make it harder to walk away when the business arrangement runs its course, depends entirely on who you ask. The fairy tale continues for now, but fairy tales in the age of social media rarely have clean endings. There's always another twist, another accusation, another piece of information that changes how we see the story. And as long as people keep watching, the drama will keep unfolding. One thing's for certain, though. Love Island USA Season 7 gave us one of the most talked about tuples in the show's history. Whether Nicolandria is real, fake, or something complicated in between, they've already secured their place in reality TV history. And that's probably worth more than any prize money ever could be.